All right, today we're going to show you guys how to winterize your pool equipment. This particular setup has a filter pump, a cleaner pump for the Polaris, and a water feature pump. And it also has a heater attached to the plumbing as well. So we're going to show you how to drain all these components, even as well as the chlorinator that holds water. So anything that holds water, we're going to want to try to drain it so that when the freeze comes, the water that's inside the canister or the container does not freeze and expand and cause it to crack. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to the equipment. You're either going to have a setup like this where you have breaker panels to kill the power to the computer, or you may have a separate switch off to the side that looks like a light switch. You can kill the main power there, or just go back to the breaker panel inside your garage and kill the breakers inside the garage. So we're going to kill the breaker for the main filter pump, and also this is labeled booster, which is the water feature pump. It's also a good idea to, if you have a computer system, to kill the main power to the computer as well. Figure out which breaker that is that does that and kill the power to the computer. That's this particular breaker here, so I'm going to flip it off. The reason for doing that is the computer system still thinks that the pumps are connected and on, and so when we have a freeze come in, the computer is going to try to put the system in freeze mode. And if you have any motorized actuators that are attached to the computer system, it is going to try to rotate those actuators and turn them according to how the freeze protection mode is set up in your system. And if it's an extreme freeze and these particular actuators are frozen and cannot turn, it could damage the actuators. So I do like to kill the power to the computer system as well, just so that it will not try to turn those actuators off and on. Next thing we're going to do is start draining the pumps. This particular pump has two drain plugs on the side of it. This is a whisper flow style pump, so this is made by Pentair. These drain plugs are on the side. You may have a different type of pump where the plug is on the front, but most pumps all have two plugs, either one in the front or side, and then also one for the actual pump body, which is where the diffuser and everything is inside the pump. So all we do is we come down here, going to unscrew these. Once you've unscrewed those, you'll start to see water flow out, and then the last thing you want to do is you want to take the lid off, and you will see the water flowing out inside the pump. That will empty all the water inside the pump body. I like to flip the lid upside down on top and then put the plugs on top. That way I know that pump has been winterized. You can also go as far as, if you do have a hose bib plumbed into your plumbing, you can open this. That will relieve any pressure on the return side going to the pipes going out to the water feature. We're also going to do the filter pump. This is actually the very same pump on the filtration side. Same thing, we're going to unscrew both plugs. We are going to pop the lid off, flip it over, put the plugs on top. All right, next thing we're going to do, once we have drained or removed the plugs for the filtration pump, and this is the one that's actually attached to the filter, is we're going to open the air relief valve on top of the filter. And you will notice that when you do that, water will really start flowing out of the pump. And what's happening is all of the water that's in that tank is actually flowing through that pipe and now flowing out through here. So we're trying to get the water in the tank drained down so that this tank will not crack when it freezes. Over on the heater, most heaters are going to have, or all heaters are going to have a drain plug on them somewhere. This particular one is right here on the bottom of the manifold. Sometimes they're hidden up under the bottom. So we're going to unscrew that plug. Maybe a little tight, you may have to grab a pair of pliers. same concept here. We're just going to unscrew it with the water flow out of the heater manifold. Because this part right here, which is called the manifold, holds water and it could crack under extreme freezing temperatures. All right, the next pump we're going to drain is the cleaner pump, which is the small booster pump here that sometimes has the soft flex hose attached to it. Some of them may be plumbed with hard rigid pipe, but we're going to drain the water out of the volute for that particular pump. And these pumps usually have a drain plug right here on the front bottom of them. These do typically require a pair of pliers to break them loose. Once you get it started, you can remove it by hand. And that will relieve the pressure in the volute here for this particular pump, and also the soft hose plumbing going back to the return side of the main filtration pump. All right, another component that we're going to drain. This particular pool has what's called an inline chlorinator. This is what holds the chlorine tablets. There is usually a check valve right here just in front of it, so this canister typically holds water in it and you have to actually drain it out. Everything we've done to this point usually will not relieve the pressure on this, so it's a good idea to unscrew the drain plug on this as well. Sometimes you may have a setup where this regulator is down at the bottom and this plug is actually up top. This one's reversed, so I'm going to unscrew the plug on the bottom to get the water out. If it's reversed, really all you need to do is just unscrew the lid on the top, and that will relieve the pressure inside the canister, and that's really all you need to do. But in this particular situation, I'm going to show you how to unscrew the drain plug here. If there's any water inside there, it will drain out. Right now it's empty, so all the water that was in here has already been drained out by relieving pressure in other areas. But I always like to check that anyway, because sometimes that check valve holds water in there, and it's a good idea to make sure that that is not full of water, or this will split very easily under a hard freeze. All right, the last thing to check is if you have plumbing that has these inline sight check valves like this, what these do is these prevent water from backflowing into the system. It's a good idea to at least loosen the screws on those and to separate that, relieve the pressure in case that particular line is holding water. In this particular circuit, this is just for a bypass for the heater, so I'm not worried about it because we already relieved the pressure before and after that check valve. But sometimes in a pool spa combo where you have a pool and a spa on your pool equipment, you may have a check valve right here with, if this is the pipe going to the spa jets, and you're going to see a check valve right here, and you may see another one on the other side, which is for the spa fountain going to the spa. It's a good idea to relieve the pressure on those as well if you're going to winterize your equipment. But before you do that, you do need to make sure that if your spa is raised higher than your pool, you need to drain the spa down at least below the jets in the spa before you relieve the pressure on the inline check valve here. Otherwise, when you pop that check valve off, water is going to start flowing out of the pipe, and the water that's in your spa is going to empty out right here. So it's better just to put it into the pool by draining the water back into the pool first before you relieve the pressure on the check valves. So that's an overview on how to drain all the components of pool equipment to make sure that nothing's holding water when you're expecting a heavy freeze coming up. Hope this video helped you guys out. If you like it, please subscribe. Thank you.